In a small village nestled between rolling hills, there lived an old gardener named Mr. John. He was known throughout the village for his beautiful and bountiful garden, which was the envy of everyone who saw it. People often asked Mr. John for his secret, but he always smiled and said, "Patience is the key." One spring, a young man named Thomas moved to the village. Thomas was eager to start his own garden and approached Mr. John for advice. The old gardener welcomed him warmly and said, "If you truly wish to learn, come to my garden every morning at sunrise." Eager to learn, Thomas arrived at Mr. John's garden the next morning. He expected to be handed a list of tasks, but instead, Mr. John gave him a single seed and said, "Plant this seed in your garden, and we shall meet again tomorrow." Thomas did as he was told, planting the seed carefully in the soil. The next day, Mr. John gave him another seed and asked him to plant it beside the first. This continued for several weeks. Each day, Thomas planted a new seed and tended to the ones he had already planted. As the days turned into weeks, Thomas grew impatient. "When will I see the results of my work?" he asked Mr. John. The old gardener replied, "Nature works at its own pace." "Patience, Thomas." Thomas continued his routine, and slowly but surely, the seeds began to sprout. Tiny green shoots pushed their way through the soil, reaching for the sunlight. Thomas felt a surge of excitement, but Mr. John reminded him, "The journey has just begun. Continue to care for your plants every day." Over the next few months, Thomas's garden began to flourish. He watered the plants, pulled out weeds, and protected them from pests. He noticed that some plants grew faster than others, but Mr. John advised, "Each plant has its own rhythm. Respect their differences." One day, after many months of diligent care, Thomas's garden was in full bloom. Vibrant flowers of every color and lush vegetables filled the garden beds. Villagers came to admire his work and asked for his secret. Thomas smiled and echoed Mr. John's words, "Patience is the key." But the lesson didn't end there. Mr. John took Thomas aside and said, "You have learned the value of patience in gardening. Now apply it to other areas of your life. Patience can help you overcome challenges, build strong relationships, and achieve your goals." Thomas took this wisdom to heart. He approached his work, friendships, and personal projects with newfound patience and saw his life transform in ways he had never imagined. He learned that true success and fulfillment came from persistent effort, care, and the willingness to wait for the right moment. Years later, Thomas became the village's most respected gardener, and he always credited Mr. John's lesson of patience as the foundation of his success. He continued to pass on this valuable lesson to anyone willing to listen, ensuring that the wisdom of patience would flourish for generations to come.